I'm back. I had a shower and then dinner and then a nap and then breakfast. So it's tomorrow. So it didn't really follow my plan, but you know, it's not like a week later, so that's actually pretty good for me. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna put this mixture of plaster and glue that I made. It goes on as like a top coat kind of. That's a little rough but sandable, and is really sturdy. This is a mixing stick that I used for it before, and yeah, it's dries very hard and it's not brittle at all, unlike what plaster normally is. So we're gonna get to that. But it's been sitting in this jar for a few days, so it needs to be stirred up. And what a better way to do a messy job than with your hands. Okay, so there's some gaps that I need to fill and stuff still, but I think I'll just worry about that later. There's little holes and stuff all over the place from where the foam wasn't like completely adhered to the side. And there's parts where the prints are really crappy and it all fuzzed up, so it's gonna have a lot of work on it anyway. Okay. Well, these two pieces are all gooped up. I'm gonna let them dry. I'll come back and check on them every couple of hours. And yeah, hopefully it dries sooner rather than later, so that I can get my couple coats on it. I'm gonna have to flip them both and do the bottom side too. So I'm thinking 2 top coats, flip it, 2 bottom coats, and then I'll probably be out of glue. Maybe 1 bottom coat each. I don't know. I put a pretty heavy layer on the top. The bottom one doesn't have to be so nice. But I'm going to be sanding a lot of this, so it has to be pretty goopy, pretty thick. I'm going to have to fill this with plaster. But yeah, I'll be back. Okay, so the keen-sighted of you guys are going to notice that I've got a haircut. It's been it's been quite a few days since I last worked on this. I think where we left off is I just added a bunch of plaster to it, and I had some other stuff I had to do. I made a sock knitter. There's another video of that if you want to go see that. I guess that will have been my last video. So now we have to do a lot of sanding. Well, some of these pieces have a lot of wispy parts. That's some of the filament strings. I was thinking about how I wanted to do that, and I think they'll sand off pretty well. If they don't sand off, then I'll just blowtorch them. But I think we'll be pretty good with that. Sand this down, sand the skull down, and then it looks like there's still some gaps and cracks and stuff. I've got another filler just to do some touch-ups, and that should be good. So let's get to it. It just never ends. Okay, I don't exactly remember where we left off. It's been quite some time. I'm pretty sure we left off with me sanding, and sanding I have done. I have done so much sanding and replastering and sanding, and I could continue and make it better, but I'm pretty much fed up with the amount of dust that's been in here. If you like look around, everything has like a solid coating of plaster dust. It's been a mess. So the plan is now dust this off, and then I'm going to paint it red. So as you've just seen, I've painted it red. I've finished with most of the sanding. Actually, I think I finished with all of the sanding. There's like a couple spots that I'm not super happy with, but I feel like they're just gonna have to be because I'm very much sick of sanding. The red paint was for two things. One, it's going to be the base coat. If you look at fossils, a lot of them have a red hue. And this red paint was pretty cheap and on sale, so I figured I'd just use it as the base coat. And then I'll be painting white over it. And another thing is I wanted a gloss paint to put on it, just so I could see exactly how all of the curves and if there's any like little divots and things that I didn't like about it, but it looks pretty good. I'll be painting it with matte, and then when I go to clear coat it, I'll decide whether or not I want a more glossy or satin or matte clear coat. I'm not too sure yet. But right now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out some 1/4 inch pieces of plywood, and I'm going to put them underneath this just so that when I build a backer for it, the skull itself is lifted a little bit off the backer, which I think will look the best. So let's get right to that. Here are the pieces that I cut out to be spacers. Also have one for the jaw. I'm going to round these edges over a little bit so they don't look as harsh, and they'll all be painted black, so I don't think it all matters too much. I cleaned up all the edges on a sander. They're all a little more rounded. They look a little better. Again, I'm not worrying too much about it. It's never going to be seen. Now the plan is for all of these little spacers that I'm going to put them in place, drill a single hole into it, apply some foaming Gorilla Glue to it, and then put screws in the holes. The reason why I want to do that is because I don't know how well the screws themselves will hold onto the foam, so I'm going to coat them all in Gorilla Glue, so they're more just like pegs than screws, but hopefully that works. What the hell? My bit just snapped. This saw here is really thin, so I have to remember not to put a screw in this hole I just drilled, or else it will go right through. Hey guys, I just finished up. I put some 2x4s up and screwed it in. I didn't record that. But there's some back mounting plates now for the T-Rex skull. And I went around and hashed some spots that I still think need to be touched up a little bit. Lines are in spots where I can still kind of see where I joined larger pieces together. Hashing is either just stuff I want to touch up, or if you look here, you can see some layer lines. You can barely feel them, but the gloss paint really highlights them. It's not too much of a problem. There's still a lot of painting to do, and I don't think they'll show through once it's got a few more coats of paint and stuff on it. Of course, it's not going to be red because that's just the undercoat. If you look up a lot of T-Rex skulls and stuff, a lot of fossils, they've got a reddish hue, and I figured basing it in red and then going over with some lighter colors and some browns and stuff to weather it would look good. I don't really care about the back of this too much, but this underside I still want to do, even though it won't very much be seen. I still want it to be good, again with the back of this. There's some spots, I don't know what this is here, it's hard, it might be some glue, but I can hit that with the orbital real quick and sand it down. And I ran out of red paint for the backside here, so I'm gonna have to get another can. But I don't know, looks pretty good. Hopefully the 2x4s I've got hold up, because they're just screwed into this really thin MDF on the back of this cabinet that I've got. But I made sure one of them hits this top 3/4 inch plywood on each side, and then I have screws going in both sides. The ones I put in on this side was just because I needed something to hold it in place, and after it was in place I went around and popped some in on the inside of this just so that they'd be, the heads of the screws would be up against the MDF. But I'm pretty happy with it. I'm going to leave this episode here. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned. This is almost done, and I'm really happy with it. It's looking really good. Ciao.